I'd sent Torr a message that was essentially a goodbye message. And I think if he hadn't have turned up at mine that day, well, yeah, I don't know what would have happened.
Would you say to someone that was in a similar position that you were in, would you say that the most important thing for them is to find purpose?
Without a doubt. And the thing is, you've already got purpose. It's just remembering what it is. I really hate when people say, oh, it's just business. It's not just business. Because if you're shitting on my business, you're shitting on me.
Do you enjoy property?
Yes and no. Yes, because
That cost is going to be fuck all in 3 years' time.
Yeah.
But think about the time saved by that cost
yeah,
that you're never going to make back. You'll always make money back.
Yeah.
Always. It comes and goes. That's money. Time just goes.
The properties we've got are absolutely flying. They've never been so good. But we just need more.
So in terms of revenue, where are we now?
We're doing sort of around 25k a month.
I'd like to call myself a little bit of a perfectionist. I don't want anyone doing my job wrong.
You can actually still be vulnerable and still be a man.
Yo guys, and welcome back to the Gooms Podcast. Today we've got some very, very good friends of ours on the pod, the Torr Property Group. We spoke about the boys' struggle with mental health, scaling their business to 25k per month, general business advice, and much, much more. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast. It is appreciated by me and Chris so much. Thank you for the continued support and enjoy the episode.
This podcast is shot, edited, and brought to you guys by our marketing agency, GMS Creative.
Since GMS came in and took over our socials, our Instagram and social media has just blown up.
The guys are really good, they really get my vision. We've worked together for over a few years now.
One of the best things about working with GMS Creative is the fact that I've got so much time back. They allow me to do what I do best. They manage the social media and advertising, and I can work on fulfilling orders and creating great products that our customers love.
If you're interested in finding out how me, H, and our team can help propel you and your online presence, click the link in our description to book a free call-in today. Oh, press that subscribe button. Peace.
I know that this pod, obviously it's taken quite a while to come around. Obviously we've got the personal relationship, but what was it about where you guys are now in business that made you feel comfortable to come and talk about it?
I think, to be honest, it's something that we have put it off. We can't even lie.
Just didn't want to speak to us.
Yeah, that's what I was just sick of dealing with you anyway. But no, I think we went on a pod recently with Samuel Leeds. Gave us a little bit more confidence, obviously, to be in these situations speaking. But I just think the position that we're in now as a business, and also where we're trying to get to with our own personal development, seemed like a good time to maybe come on and sort of speak about our journey and plans for the future, really.
What do you guys mean about your personal development? Like as in your personal brands?
Yeah, I would say so. And also you, in general, our personal development. I think when you go into a business that's heavily reliant on a social presence, which I'd say property investment is, you've got to be, people have got to know who they're investing with, and they want to know the sort of intricacies of your personal life as well as, you know, your property background. So I think for us, trying to expand on, grow our own brand and also develop ourselves personally to a point where we're confident enough to sort of go out there and show who we are.
Mm-hmm. People buy from people, innit?
That's it.
Have you guys hit
Exactly.
like a hurdle and a property investor's been like, who even are you guys? Because you don't have that presence online yet.
yeah, we came to this kind of hurdle when I was speaking to a landlord once recently, and he says, "Oh, show us your website." And at the time we didn't have a website, and it's like it kind of hits you and makes you realise that you need to be putting yourself out there. You need to act like a big company, otherwise no one's going to invest with you.
Yeah. Wait, I swear you guys had just a
it's
booking website, right?
isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a very, very minimalistic.
Hey, well, I know where you guys can get a really, really good website from.
We'll speak about that off camera.
I want to pull it back a little bit and like actually introduce you guys in a way that like, how we actually came like across each other in the first place. 'Cause I think it's quite beautiful that the relationship we've built came from needing somewhere to film a podcast in the most random and weird way. Like, do you want to tell it? Oh, you tell your side. I mean, it was predominantly Luke that I was in contact with, but
Yeah.
So George didn't even want to turn up.
You're still in full-time work. Still in full-time work at the time.
Rough times.
Oh shit! Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I can remember he was gutted when we were out having food.
Can we just take a minute to appreciate how far we got, us guys as a group in the last 70 weeks have come?
Yeah.
Round of applause in the studio, guys. Come on.
No, it is actually crazy because it did start with you'd put a story out asking for somewhere to film a pod in Manny. Obviously, the pod was 6 weeks old at the time.
Literally,
I think it was like episode
the Sophie Lee episode.
Yeah,
I think
like
7,
10,
8
somewhere around there.
And then James was there later that day. So yeah, 6 weeks old. Obviously, I didn't know who you guys were. I didn't know the pod. We've never really been that big on social or anything like that, so we just wouldn't have come across you guys. And it was actually a friend of mine that sent me the story and was like, just out of interest, it might be worth reaching out. We were very new to the service accommodation business at that point. I think we'd had the apartment.
I was going to say, it wasn't long, was it?
It was. I don't even think we'd had bookings.
No.
I don't even think we'd had anyone stay there. So you.
No,
guys
you were
probably
still doing. I remember when we got there, you were still going back and forth IKEA, Denelm runs.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So you guys were the first in there.
Yeah.
And that was our first one in Manny. Yeah, and you reached out. Well, you put that out on your story. I reached out to you and just said, look, we've got somewhere if you want it.
Yeah.
Like we don't need anything for it. You can have it. And then
we was gassed as well. We're like, this episode is brought to you guys by Torr Property Group. If you're ever looking for someone,
I love that intro.
We were like the first time that we ever had like a company to kind of like
that would be
include
for like a hero video for your website. That'd be like banger for credibility to put that at the start and make you guys seem like a bigger deal than you are.
Definitely
true.
And I think the thing that sort of struck me with it was obviously I didn't know what to expect. I didn't even really watch like any podcasts at the time, and you guys came in and I couldn't believe, bear in mind you were 6 weeks old, how professional the setup was and how switched on you were, how quickly you were just like bang, right, that's it, set. And the guest was sort of waiting downstairs and I was like, okay,
on it,
these guys take it seriously. Like they're doing it properly.
Thank you, I appreciate that, man. I've never even like looked at doing the pod and been like, oh shit, we're doing this properly, because there's no like right way to do things. There's no like step-by-step guide.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
you say that, but there's a lot of wrong ways to do it.
Yeah,
and we didn't show him any wrong, if that makes sense.
Like I wouldn't have known. Obviously, if you were doing something, I could be talking shit right now. It could be a terrible setup. But obviously now we've been on another pod, which is like quite a big one in our industry it is anyway. And like, I mean, your guys' setup is unreal.
Come on.
And I'm not just saying that because I like you.
That day was beautiful in so many ways, because we kicked it off with a really, really kind of amazing individual, and still to this day is our actual only female guest, Sophie.
Really?
Yeah. It didn't really perform that well, to be honest.
No.
And like, like the mandem, like have good convos with the mandem.
Yeah.
But then James, that night was the first time that I'd met James outside of kind of through a mutual, and the first time that you connected with James, we went out for that dinner after, and it was like, it felt so real to us that like, oh my God, this is like a Wednesday afternoon and we worked today. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was also the start of quite a beautiful relationship between us personally, on a business side of things as well. Like we've thrown some things back and forth at each other, and I wouldn't be in the position I'm in with my serviced accommodation without either of you guys. So like that day was like so, like if that guy never sent you the story, things could be very different now.
Yeah. It definitely started a bit of a chain reaction, I think. And I think also you guys have definitely pushed us with our development in the business, and also personally, especially what we're trying to do more and more now in terms of self-development.
And social media-wise, you've pushed me massively.
Yeah.
Speaking on the camera, putting myself out there, making my own Instagram just purely for property.
Yeah. Well, bro, you say that, but like it's not tit for tat, bro. But if you can sit on a call with me for an hour, and talk to me about how to set up uplisting, like the least I can do is show you how to make a reel, bro.
Yeah, just give
like,
it
you know what I
value.
mean? Like, but that's a beautiful thing about having like a network of people that are all going towards maybe not the same end goal, but going towards the same end goal, if that makes sense.
Of course.
Having that network of motherfuckers that are just doing it. In different industries, in different niches, to be able to pick up that phone and be like, yo, bro, I can help you with this, you can help me with this, I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
I think
part and parcel of the
it's
the journey,
like-minded individuals. And I think like when you mentioned James,
Yeah.
recently I've sort of had, we catch up now and then. Bear in mind we met sort of once on your pod. I was just sort of there because someone had to open the door and lock up again.
You were our first live guest. If you actually think about it like that.
Yeah.
No one
I've been a live guest a few times now.
Yeah,
as
you
well.
have actually.
But I think, me and James connected again recently. And he actually sent some clothes over for sort of me and someone else to sort of, obviously just because he wanted to, and also obviously to promote and that sort of thing. And I think that's the thing, it's any sort of relationship, it's when it's honest and genuine, and like you say, two people that are pushing, obviously not the same goal specifically, but pushing towards just creating something. I think that's a beautiful thing. And obviously meeting you guys to then being sat here.
Yeah, I know.
Is it just over a year? Yeah, just over a year, really.
Oh, yeah.
Later is
What's 70 weeks, yeah. James is a beautiful human, by the way.
Great
we
guy.
say it all the time. Such a genuine, like, good kid. I say good kid, good dude.
And some great stories as well.
Yeah. Isn't
Some
it?
great stories.
And even to this day, he was with like 5 of the Barca squad the other day in Marbella.
Yeah, you showed me that. That's crazy.
Like Portugal got knocked out of the Euros, and Nelson, who I think it's announced now, he's doing like a collab with on a line.
Yeah.
It was like, just come out, and like that's just so like, he was chilling with the boys at Barcelona, like star boys. And he was just there, like in the corner. Like, did you see the picture? He was like
Ashley Cole.
Yeah, like there, like.
What was it that made you guys actually want to get into property?
I've always wanted to get into property somehow because I knew you could make good money in it. It's just I didn't know how to do it or how to get in with like little to no money. And then I did a little research online, seeing Samuel Leeds, seeing all these different strategies you could do, and went down to his training courses and just went through it.
Do you guys go to the first course together?
I went on my own for the first course. I came back. Me and Luke spoke about getting into business somehow, and I said, look, I've got something that can work for us here. And then from there, it kind of just got you on board.
You on board straight away?
I was in a way. So this story, it goes a little bit deep, in fairness, and it's not something we've sort of ever really shared.
No, just as it got deep, lights go out.
Yeah, it's just so we were in conversation about we wanted to do something. I needed a change. George needed a change. And I was just at a point, had a lot go on in my life personally, and just was not in a good way, not in a good place at all. And we had a game. We had a game, midweek game. Football. And I'd sent Torr a message that was essentially a goodbye message.
Fuck.
And I can obviously remember being sat there, thinking what I was thinking. And at the time, people will always say selfish decision, that sort of thing. But at the time, to me, it was so logical. It was the only way to sort of ease the pain you were causing other people, the pain you had yourself, and that sort of thing. I thought it's the best thing. And I didn't reply to him. He was going to pick me up for the game because he was driving sort of past my house on the way there. And I just wasn't replying. And I guess you guys are so tight as well. You just have a feeling. And I think he just had a feeling that there's something not right about what I'd said sort of earlier that day, and just not responding to him. And I think if he hadn't have turned up at mine that day, well, yeah, I don't know what would have happened, but we definitely wouldn't be sat here now. And after that, he just sort of grabbed me and pulled me aside and was like, look, we've got to change something. We've got to give you something that's going to give you like a new a new purpose, a new sense of direction. And I wouldn't say I've never looked back, because obviously you don't just sort of come back from being in that place mentally. But without him sort of dragging me out of it and sort of starting on like giving myself like a new mission, I don't think that's it. And that's what it was, and that's what I needed. And being the mate that he is, and like we're like brothers, we're inseparable.
That's beautiful, man. First of all, I want to say I didn't have any idea, bro. Sorry you had to go through whatever you went through.
It's something that obviously a lot of people do have to go through. It sort of is what it is. It's not something that I sort of speak about a lot, because I think lots of people go through it. You're not special because you've been through that, and you shouldn't get any sort of extra sort of leeway in situations or anything like that. But I think when we're telling our story, and we've told it a few times, and obviously I've not sort of don't sit there in a sort of happy environment with, investors event or that sort of thing, and obviously tell everyone that story, because there's certain things that they don't need to come into it. Yeah. But I think when we're telling our story raw and like sat here with you guys, I don't think you can really leave that out.
I think it takes a lot of courage to share what you've shared, and also to go through. Luke and Torr, I want to say, I already thought you were an amazing dude anyway.
Thank you, brother. And
I think that you're even more of an amazing dude after hearing that. But like you said, you had that feeling. And I feel like when you are so connected with someone in so many different ways, coming past the house, even though he hasn't replied, is the bare minimum for me. You turning up and being like, bro, walk on.
Yeah.
I'm here for you. You're in a bad place. Let's get you out of it. That's what friendship's about. Yeah. And the fact that you guys started your business journey off of something like that, I think is so special.
And I think when times are hard now in business, I think for me personally, there's days where we're like, God, it would have been easier doing what we were doing. Yeah. Like, he was in a full-time job, like good money, steady, been there a while. There was progression in it. I had a business that was doing all right as well, always had done. Was fairly sort of comfortable, but I wasn't happy. And I think that's the thing. It's not...
There's always a ceiling to where we was at as well. Like within my job, obviously, there's a ceiling. And we wanted to go into something that didn't have a ceiling, as you guys know. In your business, well, there's never a ceiling in that sort of industry.
The ceiling's where you decide it.
Exactly.
Where you decide it to be.
Luke, man.
That's fucking...
Yeah.
It took me back a bit.
No, don't say sorry.
I feel happy to an extent that you feel comfortable enough to, like, realistically, in your second kind of time putting yourself out there, feel comfortable to share that with us. And I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but if it wasn't us sat on the other side of the table, I don't think...
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No. I don't... Yeah, like I think the fact we started the pod off sort of talking about our relationship, and I think that just kind of shows where it is. Yeah. And I know obviously you guys aren't going to be the only people that see, well, hopefully not going to be the only people that see this.
Imagine 4 views. We've all watched it, boys. What do you think, man?
I'm sure my mum would watch as well. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, once you've been there, it doesn't really get any worse, does it?
Would you say to someone that was in a similar position that you were in, would you say that the most important thing for them is to find purpose?
Without a doubt. And the thing is, you've already got purpose. You've already got purpose. It's just remembering what it is. I think that's the hardest thing. Like I said, it's at the time, people will always say it's selfish. And I've lost friends to suicide, and people that sort of were very close to me have lost people, family. And... there'll always be a part of you, and people will always say, obviously, it's selfish. But I think at the time, you feel like it's the least selfish thing you could possibly be doing. It's sort of the end to the damage you're causing everyone, and I think that's genuinely what you convince yourself. Obviously, it's not the case. But yeah, I think it's 100%. I would say speak to people, it sounds so obvious, but it's so important.
Yeah.
So important. Speak to people. And yeah, just try and, I think that's the thing with speaking to people. And when you have good people around you, they're going to remind you of what your purpose is. Obviously, Torr basically said, he didn't say to me, right, we need to start a new business. It was like, what can we do?
Yeah.
What is it there's 9 times out of 10, there's going to be something that's making you unhappy. Even if it's, it might not drive you to that place, but there's going to be things in your life that you can do to improve your sort of day-to-day. And you just make it through that. If you keep going, it's like having a to-do list. It's like, okay, well, I've improved that, I've improved that. Before you know it, your mood's completely different. And you're going to have days where you don't feel great again. But like I say, in this business, when we have days where we think, this is different, we're not in a situation we want to be. It's not been plain sailing.
Yeah.
There's been times where we look at the bank account and think, shit, how are we going to pay ourselves? We just took on this property, we just took on this. And obviously it increases the stress, personally. But
that's the game.
That's the game. That's it. You have to learn to enjoy that. It's not, you've not failed because you've had a bad month or you've had a bad week or you've had a bad day.
And we know in the end it'll be more than worth it. So it's a process.
That's it, exactly.
Before we move on into more of the business stuff, I just want to take this opportunity to say to everyone that's listening, send that fucking text out to your friends, man. Check in on your people. And one thing that I live my life by is be more like Torr. Things sort themselves out. On a serious note, though, check in on your people, man. It's a text, it's a call for that person that you haven't spoke to in maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks, a month, months on end. Check in. Send them that text. Give them that phone call. How are you, man? Take 10 minutes out of your very busy day to check in on the people you care about, because it goes a lot further than you guys can actually imagine.
100%.
So, yeah. Fuck me, we got deep, and we got deep quickly. But I like it.
Was it when you visited Luke, was it straight away? Like you said the business to him, like this is what we're going to do to kind of get you out of this and give you some purpose? Or was it another time?
It wasn't that simple. Obviously, we sat down and we spoke about...
It was an, Torr, I'm not feeling good. Oh, bro, I've got this proposition for
here
you.
we go, let's get into property.
Through the business plan.
Yeah. By the way, I need a 15k investment as well. You got it.
No, obviously, it wasn't that simple. It was more of a case of sitting down with Luke and saying, look, where do you feel the problems are in your life and what can we do to kind of rectify and resolve them? And obviously we did it bit by bit, and then obviously whilst I was doing my thing and looking into property, it kind of came at a good time. So I was like, Luke, look, I have something that kind of will help us both. And that's when I kind of put it towards him, and then from there, here we are.
Mm-hmm. What was the first movement? So obviously the SA game is, to an extent, a way to enter into the property game with low investment, really. Was that the main reason why you stepped into the SA game, or was it always, let's start with one and we're going to build it out to 10, 15, 100 one day, or what was...
I think the plan was to get into the SA game because, like you said, little to no money to actually enter, build it up to a certain point that we can then move into bigger things, different strategies.
Yeah. And the penthouse was the first one, right?
First one.
Yeah.
So we actually were shown that by Tutu, and who's another guy that was sort of in the same network. Great guy. And he sort of did, he was very much like, look, it's a big investment, so I'm not going to lie. It's obviously,
it's not cheap, is it?
It's a penthouse. It's a lot for your first one. It's a big one. But we had a conversation again with someone else from the same network, and she was already smashing it in Manchester. And she said, if you're going to go Manchester, go high end. So we just went, fuck it. That's the one we want. To be honest, we pictured, what would we go and stay in?
Yeah.
Like and to be honest, we had it all wrong. We thought like, oh yeah, we'll let out for this much on a Saturday, we'll do this on bank holidays. And we thought like, yeah, that's the way. In hindsight, and what we've learned going forward is, yeah, but what about the other 5 days of the week?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so naive in reality.
Yeah. And obviously we were learning as we go. Although we'd had some training and that sort of thing, you can't train property specific, really.
Yeah.
Obviously, each situation's different.
One thing you just said about the other 5 days is a hurdle that I didn't have to face because of the conversations I had with you guys.
Yeah, because we've already been there, done that, made the
Yeah.
mistakes.
And I had it in my head, like I was like, oh, it's ready. But I had a conversation with you, and I remember it because I actually got a parking ticket because I was in the car park for too long. And I remember I was like, fucking Luke, the bastard. I was after the gym, I was sat in the car park on the phone to Luke, and I was like, fuck's sake. And
just start driving.
no, was it before the gym? It might have been before the gym. But anyway, you said to me, bro, you need to make it more homely. You need to basically accommodate for people that want to come for 4 or 5 nights. I was just looking at it as if me and the boys are going into Worcester and we're not from Worcester. Would we stay there? How many of us can it sleep? 50 quid a head? Oh yeah, banging. I'm doing it for 300 a night. Oh, I'm balling. But that wasn't really how it works.
Of course, you're not gonna get those sort of people. You wouldn't go to another city. So for example, we might go up to Manchester on a Monday or a Tuesday or something, but chances are it's going to be business. So we're not going to go with like 8 of the boys and be like going China White, and do you know what I mean? You're just not going to be doing that.
Yeah.
So it's the same, obviously, and also Worcester as a location, obviously, is very different to Manchester. So it's going to attract different guests, and you've got to be specific to your property. And a lot of people do think that they can just sort of branch out and move city to city, and we'll have one there, one there, one there, and they're all going to be the same. Obviously, you've got to learn a little bit about the area and the type of people that are visiting. So for us in Manchester, I spent a lot of time growing up in Manchester, so I had some idea of, I know what areas where you'd want one, where you wouldn't. And also the areas that are going to be long-term and the areas that are going to be more short-term guests. And George, you just trusted me on it, really, didn't you, in terms of location and that sort of thing? Because we were actually walking around Manchester, we'd bear in mind we'd paid the deposit, we'd picked up the keys, and he was like, never been to Manchester before.
So I put a little bit of trust in Luke.
You never went to Manchester before the property?
Never visited Manchester.
I love Manchester.
Great city.
I don't think I've ever been above Birmingham before we started the SA business. Now I've been everywhere.
But
Sick.
yeah, I would say the main sort of hurdle, like you were saying, with your midweeks and then your weekends, trying to sort of bridge that gap, is to go long term, to book out long term, set your nightly rate obviously lower and go long term, which is what a lot of people are doing. But also then you get like the bigger gaps in your occupancy rate. You might get 2-3 weeks where you're not booked out, or 2, where really if we have like a day a week that's not booked out, we're a little bit pissed off.
Yeah.
So just depends how
Same.
you go about it.
What did those first, let's fast forward a little bit. Let's say those first 6 months you guys got up and running. What did those first 6 months look like? Financially, maybe even like your relationship, from being friends to partners? Because I know that we had to also slightly transition our relationship, because it's not all the time. Obviously, when we came together at the start, we were both single, so it was always girls, where we going, what we eating, holidays, this, that, whatever. And all of a sudden, your best mate that all you've ever done for 10 years and piss about and play football with, you've got to be serious with. Yeah. And you've got to transition into, okay, well, we need to make formal decisions. We need to come together and come to an agreement, even if sometimes we don't agree and sometimes we do. What do those first 6 months as a partnership for you guys look like?
I think it made it a little bit easier because me and Luke, as people, we're very similar in terms of like a demeanour and how we make decisions. So when there is like formal decisions to make, it wasn't like it was 2 immature lads trying to make a formal decision. It was 2 sensible lads making a decision. So it wasn't really too much of a problem that way. So
I think also, obviously, I'm 31 now. So
Yeah, Kevin Hart, you know that Kevin Hart clip?
Wait, what minute? Are you actually 31 now?
31.
I thought you were fucking with me then.
No,
Why did I think you were late 20s? 29?
that's what he's been telling you.
I was pulling on your leg bro, you're going to be 30 soon.
No, bro, 31. I'll take 30.
Damn.
Yeah, 31. So for me, I had my own business before for 10 years before we started this.
Yeah.
So
sorry, by the way, it's probably going to come off really rude to people that don't understand our relationship.
But I take it as a compliment, to be fair. But yeah, so for me, it was nothing new. It was, it's very difficult to separate business from friendship in terms of, obviously, I'm never going to look at him and just think that's my business partner.
Yeah.
Never going to be the case. But that's the beauty of it. You have to sort of embrace that. Same with you two. You're never going to treat him like he's a business partner.
Yeah.
And you have to still be able to make those decisions as friends.
Yeah.
And I don't think it necessarily has to be a business decision. At the end of the day, it's what the best thing for him is the best thing for me, and that's the best thing for us personally.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about the business. At the end of the day, your business is for you, isn't it? So it's as much as it's a business, and I really hate when people say, "Oh, it's just business." It's not just business, because if you're shitting on my business, you're shitting on me.
Yeah.
So it's not, and people will also say sort of, don't take something that's said professionally, personally. And I do agree with that. You have to be able to separate the two things between if I say something to him professionally and he takes that personally, then we're then going to have a personal conversation that's distracting from what we were talking about professionally. But at the same time, the business and the personal relationship is the same thing. So for us, we don't really have to separate it. It's just all as one.
Yeah. When you said it's just business and you say you hate it, don't you think there's some situations where it is just business though? Because you went straight away to the negative of me and H tomorrow get the apartment next door and undercut you guys on pricing, and we say it's just business, but that's not just business. That is personal.
But I don't think that's a personal attack though. If you go and get an apartment, you can undercut us, and then we're doing something wrong, aren't we? That's a little, or you're not going to make any money.
I think that's a fucking dick move.
If we got the penthouse next door, let's say tomorrow we got the keys, and we basically kitted it out just as well as you guys did, but we're 30 quid cheaper a night, every night. I can't then just say to you that's just business, bro, because it is a bit personal.
Yeah,
how many apartments are there?
Do you
know what I'm saying? But I feel like there is some times where it's like, I'll give you an example that happened to me yesterday. Hey mate, need you to log into the account and get this posted. Previous client. Yeah, but we've changed the way that we work now. I'm going to send you an invoice and a contract. I need it signed and paid before we do anything. It's nothing personal. It's just business. That is just business. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I hear what both of you are saying, to be honest with you. Yours is like coming from, you're looking at it from like a perspective of talking to a client that you've got a bit of that personal relationship with, I think.
Yeah, but that is just business, though.
More personal to business.
Yeah, but I think at the same time, when I say it's just business, obviously there's things that happen in business that are just business, because I mean there can be sort of no personal sort of vindictiveness, if that's even a word, behind it.
Vendetta, I think the word you're looking for, maybe.
I don't know.
Personal vendetta.
Anyway.
Someone get a dictionary.
Yeah, so someone.
Hey Siri.
we don't. That's not what we're good at. But I think there's certain decisions that are made that they're never going to have a personal effect, right? So it's okay. Yeah, it's just business. But I'm talking more when someone undercuts you, or they do something, or for example, someone doesn't want to pay an invoice, and they're like, "Oh, it's just business." It's like, no, that's having a detrimental personal effect.
Yeah.
Right. So that's more the sort of side of it that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I hear you. I just thought, because you said it, I thought I'm not going to be true to myself now if I just nod my head and say yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I do think sometimes it is just business, bro. Like,
I think it depends on the circumstances.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So the first one was the not the townhouse, the penthouse. Then was the townhouse. Where are we at now in terms of the portfolio? How many do you guys have?
So we've got 4 personally, and then we're at 7. So we have 3 that are management.
Dope. And in the time frame of literally when we guys first met, so 70 weeks. So every 10 weeks on average, you guys have got another property.
Yeah. And to be honest, the management side of it's new. That's something that we've only recently sort of started to do, because obviously you're creating income without sort of any outgoings. It's just to help cash flow, really.
Yeah.
It was just an idea that we had. It's nothing new. Obviously, property management sort of everywhere. But if we can then start to grow our portfolio by managing individual apartments to begin with. Individual apartments, there's a cottage that we're taking on, which is sort of Yorkshire way, near the Pennines, we think that'll be good. So it's just branching out a little bit, really. And then we're now looking to start to add block management. So the student market's struggling, especially in our area around like Nottingham.
When you say block management, you'd say like a block of apartments, right?
Apartments.
Yes.
So a student block at the minute you're going to struggle to let that out because the student market's just, I think they're building more sort of on-campus accommodation and all that sort of stuff. And obviously with the tragedy that happened in Notts, don't know if you would have seen it.
Stabbing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the student...
Tor mentioned it like literally when you were in the toilet.
Why are you blowing my cover for, bro?
Because me and Tor
We won't
started
letting you get away with
laughing.
that one.
Huh?
I'm not letting you get away with that one.
Dickhead.
I was thinking, shit, it's so up to date.
Come on, bro.
Done his research.
I don't even watch the news like that, so. But I do actually remember seeing it. But
So-
the reason I
so-
was sharp was
so
because
that's
Tor
killed
said
the
it about
student
40 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So there's loads of blocks out there that were obviously renting out a high yield student market that now landlords are struggling, and we can solve that problem. It's the first time really that we've been able to confidently approach landlords in that area and say, like, we can get you out the shit a little bit, and actually we think we'll offer them a better return on what they have been doing in the past.
Yeah, we can take your problem and resolve it for you instantly.
That's
Here's
business
our
101, isn't
proposal.
it? Yeah.
Exactly.
Find a pain point and fix it.
Exactly.
And then charge heavily for it.
That's why we
That's
do
the
it.
game.
So we're 18 months in now. What does the next, let's say, 18 months look for you guys? And then moving forwards, like, what is the plan of action? Where do you guys see yourselves being in the next couple of years as a business?
Scaling up the SA side of the business to a point where we're bringing in enough cash flow to then going into developments, buy, refurb, refinance properties, and basically scaling that to a point where we kind of build generational wealth, really.
Yeah.
Is the long and short of it.
Do you enjoy property?
Yes and no. Yes, because
Yeah,
it
let's
gives you the
start with you.
freedom, and I think you know the reasons why. No. Dealing with guests is obviously, it's part of the game, but obviously it's a big, big stress. But like I said, it's part of the game, so it's got to be done.
Is it just a two-man show? Because obviously, for me, I can only talk from personal experience. Managing one property, I can practically do it with my eyes closed. Once you set everything up and the systems are in place, it's just clockwork. I can imagine, obviously, you get that odd phone call, where's the key safe? And it's like, if you read your message, you'd fucking know. But it's those little things, you know what I mean? But I can imagine as you scale, those problems obviously increase. How do you guys manage it? Or is it just kind of still clockwork in a sense of where you're at now is pretty kind of...
I think we're in a situation now where it's manageable with two of us. Obviously, as we scale, that's when we're going to have to sit down and think about how we're going to approach it. Are we going to bring someone in? Are we going to take all the workload on ourselves? But I think that's a conversation to be had.
Can I come to you guys with I was going to say a proposition, but it's not really, but an idea. We had a serviced accommodation specialist, let's say, on a couple of weeks back, Sham, and he spoke about he had 2 full-time VAs that just were logged into the uplisting, and their full role, 9 till 5, for like something like 300 quid a month or some shit, was just to respond to these messages.
Yeah.
So it would take like a week or two to train, where you would kind of monitor it. This message just come through. This is how I would respond to it. Or you have saved replies for certain problems, etc.
Yeah.
And they just monitor that side of things, so you don't have to deal with the complaints. And if they ever have an issue, they just say, right, okay, Tor, Luke, got this problem. How do I fix it? And then that's when you guys get called into action. For that small cost.
Yeah,
It makes
something
sense.
we've had a conversation about recently, and we were speaking to another guy from our network, Steve, and he was very close to taking on a BA and sort of decided, I think that just maybe not yet. Something he'll definitely do and for us, it's something that we will definitely do.
I think as opposed to getting like a physical employee
Oh,
involved
without a doubt.
that wants
Yeah.
holiday pay and all
way
this
more
fucking
cost-effective.
bullshit,
Yeah.
you can just subcontract out
Yeah.
a kind of errands, or
Yeah.
whatever you label it as.
I think even in terms of searching for properties, you can get sort of help again from a VA where they're basically, and there are people just specialising in it, where they're just targeting struggling listings and just reaching out and saying, look,
You just give them the specs that you want,
Yeah.
and they just
And it's something that we will definitely use as we expand. But for now, I think our portfolio would need to be slightly bigger to warrant it.
Yeah.
I think, but at the same time, we're cautious, and you guys will know this. There's always that tipping point where it's, do we invest now to sort of to tip it that way that we want it to go, or do we sort of wait until it's starting to tip and then we invest? And I think that's always the decision that's difficult to weigh up. It's like, do we sort of twist now, or do we wait until we're at a certain point and then we go?
One thing I would throw to you guys about waiting and
fuck it.
I was going to say, for the sake of something like a $400 a month vibe, for some guy that speaks really, really good English in the Philippines, that's just going to be glued to your up listing 9 till 5, with the guaranteed $100 a week, which they are over the moon with, by the way. How much extra time would you have to go and search, or put more time and effort into what's next? That's a different perspective to look at it as.
No,
do you know what I'm saying? And I'm only saying it to you guys, not as a kick in the teeth, but as like I think you guys can fucking do it.
Yeah. Well,
and I think waiting is you're just waiting for what, really?
Like we were saying earlier about like our relationship, and in general being around like-minded people, like we can sort of sit here and obviously with our business running along that's doing well, but we can still sit there and listen and go, yeah, you know what, that's probably the conversation we needed to go, yeah, fuck it.
It's something that we did. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And we've seen massive benefits from it. At this stage in the business.
Faster growth.
Exactly.
That's the thing, the position we're in at the minute as well, where it's, we just need to free up some time.
Yeah.
And it's, don't get me wrong,
that's money.
Yeah.
Money is just time.
Yeah, exactly.
And as well, think about it. When someone said to you at the start of this business, what are you good at? Customer management is not what you would say.
Exactly.
I'm good at decorating, and I'm good at making something look amazing. I'm good at logistics and number crunching. So why don't you do what you're fucking good at and pay somebody to do the shit you don't want to do, so that you can focus on doing what you're good at to scale?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're nearly at that point already, aren't we? We're on about making that decision.
We were looking at, literally this week, we've been sat there looking at VAs, but it's something that we've kind of been procrastinating on a little bit, where we're like, yeah, but do we need it right now? And the truth is, at the minute, no, we don't.
We don't
need it, but would it help us grow?
There's a difference.
And the same thing again, we were talking when we saw your guys' place, office space.
Yeah.
We're like, do we need it yet? Well, probably not, but would it get a little bit more out of it?
The way you've got to look at it is, you're talking about developments and BRRs and whatever, yeah? £400 a month over a year, that cost is going to be fuck all in 3 years' time.
Yeah.
But think about the time saved by that cost that you're never going to make back. You'll always make money back. Always. It comes, it goes. That's money. Time just goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it allows you to put extra time to the business to allow it to grow in a different area.
Yeah.
I think the difficulty with being in property investment is, I know you hear everything about sort of no money down deals and you don't need to invest anything, but then at the same time they'll say, yeah, but then you need to spend 10 grand on your training first, which obviously is an investment.
Yeah. I actually want to pivot into that, because you mentioned the network a couple of times. You obviously mentioned Sam.
Yeah.
We both went to one of Sam's first £1 crash courses and found a lot of benefits from it. I want to ask you guys, what did that kind of training look like? Obviously, it was mainly at the start, and like that network of people that he's kind of built. How much of your success do you kind of, is the right word attribute? No, it's not. How much of the success do you kind of like not owe to him, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I think without the training, I think I speak for both of us on this point, I don't think we'd have been confident enough to even speak to a landlord to try and pitch them the idea of us running their property as a service accommodation, or even starting the business. So without us actually doing the training, we wouldn't have even taken the leap of faith to even try it. So
that is the thing, innit? The confidence, because you've seen it.
I was just going to say, though, do you not think that you could have gone and researched everything yourself using YouTube? Because the information is 1,000% out there. If I really wanted to learn to the extent, it might take me a week or something on just watching bare YouTube videos, but I think it would be possible.
I think going and finding the information and watching someone close £12,000 worth of deals in half an hour in front of your face are two very different things.
That's why if say H does the YouTube courses and you get all your knowledge from YouTube, and I've gone to the course, and we both go to a landlord, who do you think is going to close it out of me and you?
I hear you.
I'm going to have a lot more confidence in myself compared to you. I've watched a couple of videos. You can't go and close big deals or start a full business from a couple of YouTube videos, I don't think, personally.
And
We
as
did.
well,
We did. To be fair.
what do you mean?
Well, I wouldn't know anything without YouTube, to be honest with you.
I think it's different.
Yeah,
I think
in
it's
regards-
completely
in regards to the
Playing
craft.
devil's advocate more than anything. I'm
In
not
regards to the craft, I agree with you. You can learn a lot of stuff through these platforms, but from personal experience, calling up and that script of how do you deal with when they say this objection, what would you come back with, and them doing it in front of your face. There's no cuts, there's no edits, there's no part where the landlord said X, Y, and Z and they got rid of it because it makes the video look shit. Like when that's there and you can see a room filled with 150 people fully invested and locked in on this person, and they're so like, yeah, well, you know, yeah, finder's fee for this would be 3K, so yeah, send you my Stripe now, just pay it, please. And you're like, what? 3K? Like, what?
I think we touched on this before. You said even if everything that Samuel taught was, I mean, you've seen like the panorama thing and all of that, I'm guessing.
Wait,
But
what?
there's
Panorama?
Where he was on Panorama and there's people saying obviously he's a fraud and he's teaching illegal strategies and all of this stuff which he took them to court. And
What's illegal
cleared all
about
of
what he
that
does?
up.
Nothing.
No, it's just
No,
a couple of
nothing. It's
haters
just-
that probably
yeah,
spent
you-
money and were like, I
obviously you
didn't
get
close
that.
any deals,
Yeah.
fuck him.
Um,
I actually
Well-
know one personally.
yeah, we know a few.
Yeah.
Um,
You can get all the info. If you don't go and put in the work, you're not
Yeah,
going to
you're not
fucking
gonna
get a
get
return
it.
on your investment.
Exactly.
That's life,
Exactly.
motherfucker.
But I think when we spoke about it, we were saying even if that was the case, all of that was right. He sold
Me.
everyone in that room
Yeah, it was
to be
fucking
there
nuts.
on that day.
Yeah.
So even if you don't learn anything about property, you're going to learn a shit ton about sales.
That's one thing that
Shit ton.
I said to myself, like, even if I don't get a return on my investment in this motherfucker sold me. If I'm going to go and learn how to sell, I'm going to go to the fucker that convinced me. Because there's other people that have sold and do courses, and I'm like, yeah, but he's full of shit. But he sold me. Like, I went and tapped my card and paid £2,000 on the spot when I thought my outgoings for the day were going to be £1 and maybe like £6 in prep. It ended up being a fucking trip to Dubai for 4 weeks. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was...
In fairness, he didn't really sell me. You did.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm the great salesman now.
yeah. It was...
What do you mean he didn't sell you? Did you go and you
I
were
was
like, nah,
already
fuck
there,
this?
Really.
Huh?
I'd paid before I turned up.
Oh, shit.
He just said, like, we're going on Monday, we're staying Monday night, and then the course starts Tuesday.
I think you put enough trust in me to know that I wouldn't sell you on something that I wasn't convinced of myself.
Oh, mate, if he was going to research something, it's going to be like, if he goes on holiday, he reads like 1,000 TripAdvisor reviews.
I know what the restaurants are.
So I love he's going to do his research. But yeah, I think in terms of the network, the value of the network's huge. It is huge. And I think
Priceless.
if you go and do the training, it's like now, so we're no longer in the academy.
Oh, shit, I
at the
didn't know.
minute. Yeah, so we're no longer in. Because your academy membership's a year. And we got to the end of it and we were like, right now, we've got other
we need
things
to
we
spend
can
another
invest the money
fucking
in.
15K?
Yeah. Well, it's less to stay on.
to redeem,
Yeah,
right. Not to redeem, you know what I mean?
but yeah.
I know.
Yeah, renew.
So
Fucking hell.
we're struggling today.
I should be able to speak really after 78 podcasts, really.
But yeah, so we were just like, yeah, we'll wait and then we'll get into that network. And there's lots of other networks as well that are similar, and also some that are probably you would go into further down the line. And if you're going into development, there's plenty of other networks out there that obviously we will look into. We're not just sort of going to follow the same path and just stay sort of in terms of Samuel Leeds Academy. There's so many people out there that you can learn from in the property space. So the network's huge. The training is big, but at the same time, of course, the information's out there. The information's out there on people could come to us now and we could train them to sort of know what we know, but we don't know. We're not going to.
What did I say to you?
You could sell like a PDF or
Like an
course,
ebook
really.
sort of thing, yeah.
Of course, and
even for like £7.
there's people do it in terms of pricing strategy. They'll sell sort of that, a call to talk you through pricing strategy and that sort of thing. And it's something obviously we've thought about, and it's something that we may do. But at the moment, we're in the sort of situation where we're trying to grow our portfolio first, and then probably expand the business in other avenues in terms of like maybe education.
So many ways.
Yeah. We've got so many ideas of how to expand. You almost don't just take one and run with it. We've got so many different ideas of what we want to do, how we want to do it.
And our accountant keeps saying to us as well, doesn't he? He's like, don't pigeonhole yourselves. He's like, this can be sort of... He obviously looked at the... we're getting a call now.
Can you take it?
No, it'll be okay. He's looking at the way we're doing the rent-to-rents and the actual business model. And the first time we'd sat down with an accountant since we started, and he was like, lads, it works. He was like, just get to 5. He's like, then when you're at 5, just get to 10. So about 2 weeks later, we rang him and we were like, we've got to 5. And he was
Sick.
like,
I bet you're buzzing with that call as well.
Yeah. And he was like, lads, brilliant, now get to 10. And obviously that's taken us longer because obviously to get to 5, we invested a shit ton of money. And as much as rent to rent is a low money in strategy,
To an extent.
it's still quite a bit of money.
Low money
low
in
compared to
comparison
buying.
to.
Comparison
Yeah.
to buying a house.
I should try and get like a grant.
It's difficult to get loans.
Especially in property.
No, grant's not a loan. No, grants, they just give you like 10 grand. They just give you it.
As a business grant.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit
But I
harder
suppose
when
because
you're a property business, though. That's the
Yeah, I was
problem.
gonna say.
Even to get a business loan is pretty much impossible. Unless it's not.
At
You
this
can-
stage
you can
in the
raise
business, though.
finance
Yeah.
from investors and that sort of thing. But to go to a bank and say, I want a loan, what you do in property is difficult.
Yeah.
Obviously, unless you're getting a mortgage, which is not something we're looking to do right now. So it's just that's one key thing that I think you can't learn on YouTube is raising finance.
Yeah.
I think that's like you guys will know that you've got to go and sit down with these people, and there's so many different characters that have obviously got the money to invest that you're going to have to convince, and then they're not going to be the same. One guy's not going to be the same as the other.
I literally said it 2 weeks ago, and I said if you can find a way to become the person that the person on the other side of the table wants you to become to get that deal done, you'll win in everything.
Yeah,
Because it's not like being fake. It's just about the perception of you to that person on the other side. Like if you're dealing, as simple as if you're dealing with a female or with a male, a female's going to have more of an emotional approach. So you're going to tell her that her property is great, her business is this, and it's so beautiful and it's got so much potential. If you sat in front of a dude more often than not, they look at logistics. You're going to put numbers, stats, facts. If you invest X, buy X, it will be X. They're going to it's different.
Yeah,
it is different.
You have to adapt. You have to. And I think something that we've found even with dealing with landlords and that sort of thing, obviously there's a certain landlord that we're sort of dealing with at the minute that doesn't, like I've just called him a landlord, but doesn't like to be called a landlord. It's a multi-property owner.
Why?
Just doesn't
I
like
am
to
a
be called
multi-property
landlord.
owner.
Yeah. It's like, so obviously the first
Sounds
time you
weird.
go and meet somebody like that, especially because we're both sort of younger guys-ish. And
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Ish.
well,
Definitely the
it
ish.
is. And trying to do, I mean, for us, we're not bothered what you want to call it. Call us whatever you want. Let's sort of talk about the deal that's in hand. But as soon as you sit down and you refer to him as a landlord, then straight away that person's like, shut off. It's like, how do you learn to deal with that other than by dealing with that person?
Yeah.
And that's where the experience comes into it, and why we can then sell deals that we've closed. Because if we can close a deal and you don't have to, and you're sort of cash rich, time poor, then that's another service that we can offer someone. We can be what that person needs.
Can I bring the conversation 10 minutes back quickly? You guys were talking about there's so many things that we can do, and there's so many avenues we can go down to. And I understand that your accountant has said to you get to 10 and you're trying to get to 10. But think about how much more time you'd have if you had the VA to focus on getting 10.
Yeah, that's
no,
kind
you
of
bang on.
yeah.
To
You're
focus
right.
on trying to find these deals. Focus on trying to generate liquid, basically, or to get an investor on board, or even if it's just people within your network. I can't get a loan from the bank, but can I get one from you? I'll show you all of our books, and I'll give you 10% interest per month that it's overdue, or whatever. You can go out and get to 10 a lot quicker. if you don't have to deal with those meticulous roles and those jobs that you don't really want to be doing.
I think you know yourself, dealing with guests is time consuming.
Yeah.
And that's on...
Especially like you Karen ones that want to have a convo. Like you can tell that your phone's not really that busy because you're asking me, oh, how's your day, Chris? Yeah. Bro, the lockbox is there. Just let yourself in. And like, that's it. Leave me a 5-star review as well if you can.
I think that's something that has always held us back. And it's something that obviously after this conversation as well, I know you'll be on it as well now going forward. But it's something that we will do. We will get a VA. We will push it because at the end of the day, like I said to you when we first turned up, you said, how's business? And I said, yeah, business is great. The properties we've got are absolutely flying. They've never been so good. But we just need more. We just need more. So it's a case of, like I say, we're trying to take on these blocks in terms of management, which obviously that massively increases our profitability and cash flow. And also, then you're going to need a VA.
Yeah, but I was going to say, you've got a lot more, well, quote-unquote tenants/guests, haven't you?
Yeah. I mean, there's, a block of 11, block of 14, and then a block of 10 or 12.
Yeah, if people are coming in and out every 2 to 3 days.
I was going to say, the way you got to think about it is like basically it's £75 from each property, the profit that you're willing to give up for a VA. Just nothing to think about it.
Or just increase your cleaning fee by 10%, and it's your VA fee included.
Right.
Yeah. That's it.
No, you're right.
That's it. Like,
I'm not.
The only reason I'm like pestering you guys on it is because I know how well you guys can do, and I genuinely want you guys to do so well.
I think the reason we haven't done it so far is, me personally, I'd like to call myself a little bit of a perfectionist. I don't want anyone doing my job wrong. So if I employ or get a VA on board, and they're not doing it 100%, I'm like, nah.
Do you know what you have to do though? Because I had a situation with one of our editors, and he was pissing me off because he just couldn't get it right, and I was spending more time trying to tell him what to do. I was having to spend more time.
Oh, I hated you, bro. Yeah.
I was having to spend more time telling him what to do, rather than just editing the fucking shit myself. It would have only taken me like 10 minutes to do everything that I needed him to do. Half an hour, let's say. Fucking going back and forth with him constantly on calls and shit, and he just wasn't getting it right. And it got to a point I was just like, right, fuck this. I was like, this is what I need to do. So I got him on a Zoom. I was like, literally, I was just like, watch me, we're going to do it together. And like, when you do it with them and you just show them, this is how you do it, do not do it differently, they're going to get it pretty soon. Like I remember, I haven't really had any problems with him since. So and like everything comes back now perfect.
I think the time you sacrificed with him will be massively worth it in the long term.
Investment.
But obviously, like I said, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so it's like, I don't really want to let someone else do it, but I've got to let go of that, really.
It's an I do, we do, you do process.
There's nothing wrong with that, bro. You just want things done right.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. Who wouldn't want things done right, realistically?
Yeah.
I do, we do, you do. You're in the I do. The we do is the part that H is talking about. Even if it takes 1 week, 2 weeks, I can reply to these guys quicker now whilst we're in this training phase. But this training phase is only going to last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. Then how much time after that am I going to save when it gets to the you do part? When you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
Go on. Sorry, I cut you up.
I'd say in terms of revenue, where are we now? Only if you feel comfortable.
100 racks!
No, that's fine. We're doing sort of around 25k a month at the minute. Sort of a good month in terms of profit on that is around like the 12 to 15k, sort of around there.
Great margin.
I was going to say, that's not bad,
It's service accommodation. It's the nature of the business. And obviously, in terms of the management properties, that only makes their margins better. Because there's less going out.
When we had Shamil on, he said that he does 50k a month, but he's left with 15k profit-ish.
We had a conversation off camera.
Sorry, obviously...
you guys do deal sourcing as well, and that's all profit basically. It's just your time.
It's just purely profit.
Shit. Okay, makes sense.
Don't wrong. We don't sell a lot of deals. We sell.
Yeah, but even one deal though, that's like
we sell good deals that we believe
25% of the 12.
There's a lot of deals out there.
And the profit margin, that's 99.9%.
Yeah, there's a lot of deals out there that I think people will put out and try and push that they know themselves they wouldn't buy. They wouldn't take it on. Where for us, we'll only sell a deal if we are not in a position to take it on. We've sold one recently actually that we manage, and we were gutted at the time. We were like, we can't really make it work. So we moved on to some friends of ours. What was it? Not even a week before.
Honestly, I think it was like 8 days.
After it had gone live, there was like a 3-month booking.
The one we shot, right?
Do you know what?
In Nottingham.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 $7.5 grand.
I actually saw it.
Wish we took it on.
Do you know what's a banger? I just thought, like, if you guys are going to build your personal platforms, or even like have the Torr Property like platform, and like you figure out your seller content that does well, and you build up that following, all you'll need to do with your deals is just bang them on your story.
Yeah.
And then you can even get other people to fucking find you the deals and just give them like a K out of the 3.
Yeah. Well, in fairness, we do. We obviously do sort of co-sourcing.
Yeah.
So we have other people essentially looking for the investor or looking for the deal, and we provide the missing part basically. And you split the fee. So we do that, and we do a fair bit of that really. But in terms of banging them on a story, like we put them out. I don't think we've ever sold a deal.
I'm talking about though, if you guys were to build an account that's purely about property, and let's say there's 50,000 of them, rather than on the Torr Property page, what is it, like 500?
It's like 900.
900.
Yeah.
Rather than 900.
Come on, man.
I'm not trying to buy
it's not.
Our fucking business
Fucking
page only
splitting
has
it down the
700
middle.
followers. And like, we should be doing a lot better.
Yeah.
But in terms of like getting a deal and just banging on your story, there's going to be a lot more people that are going to be open to just taking it. If the page is purely about property as well.
Yeah.
I just thought
you're
of
right.
that now.
You're right. And
We've had this conversation so many times.
Yeah.
There are people doing it.
Too many times.
The other thing that brings me to something I want to ask you boys really was, so you guys both push your personal brand, I would say, more than your business brand. Obviously, people buy from people and all of that. Would you say that that's, especially, I think recently, both, you're probably more active on TikTok than Instagram?
To be honest with you, I'm not that active on TikTok at the moment, bro. I used to be.
Why are you always popping up then?
Do I?
Always.
Come on.
Yeah,
Bro, when I say there was probably there was shitloads of fucking videos on there, man.
Yeah.
On my I went and deleted them all. Really? There's not that many on there right now. I'm surprised that
you get a few pop up. But I think when you're trying to grow, obviously, your personal brands and that sort of thing, do you think that's helped you in terms of your business brand, or do you think it's a separate entity almost?
I think it's definitely a separate entity, but I do think that a personal brand would be more important than your business brand.
There's a lot of crossover.
Yeah. Again, it's like building up the business's brand is important, but it's like just another thing that's time consuming, because like I'm not going to pretend to you that making content for yourself, like it's always long. Like when it's for clients and stuff, you're like, oh, it's work, we get paid for it.
Paid to do it.
But when it's you and it's the beginning, like that's when it's the hardest part, I think anyways.
One thing I would say, and I always use this reference, Kylie Jenner has 500 million followers. Kylie Cosmetic has 3. But I know that at least 10% of her followers are consuming or buying or doing something to do with her businesses.
Well, look at Sam Leeds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is there a Sam
personal
Leeds
brand why everybody buys from him?
Brand. Yeah. And in fairness, that was advice that he gave us. He said, you want to be active on your personal profiles in terms of your property. And I have if I put anything on property related, it goes on my personal one, where you've created like a property page, haven't you? Like your own property page.
One thing you have to understand is psychology. And the psychology of somebody when they open up their phone and they go to an app like Instagram, it's not, I want to open up my screen and be sold something or be told, like, check this out and all of this shit. Someone's going to Instagram to either laugh, see some tits, learn something. Do you know what I mean? They're going for emotion. So if you can create emotion and then just effortlessly drop what it is that you're trying to sell in there, you put a reel out and it's like, guys, I've had the worst day as an SA property entrepreneur. This and this happened. And then in the comments, there's if you're interested in any deals, drop me a follow. Or, do you know what I'm saying? But they open it, it's relatable. You've also shared some information, they've learned something. That's what people are opening up these social platforms for, not buy this or check this out.
Do you know what's a banger? Have you guys seen that guy that literally, like, the calls that he does with landlords? He posts them.
In his car?
Yeah. Sometimes they're horrible, sometimes they go well.
I've seen a couple of that.
He's very...
If you guys are doing shit tons of calls with investors and landlords every month, why not do that style of content?
It's easy content.
If I was
how
gonna...
easy is that?
If I had no experience, if I had no nothing, and I wanted to go into property and he was selling a deal, I would feel confident enough just from the personality that I see, him showing the narrative he controls, I would feel comfortable to swipe up in the DMs and be like, hey bro, I'm trying to get into it. Could you help me? Yeah, I can. I've actually got this and it's $3,000. Do you want it? All right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, yeah.
But if it's Torr Property Group and this really corporate post and it looks like I'm trying to sell something to you.
Most people don't even watch
The-
it.
yeah,
Exactly.
I was going to say, yeah, probably the best way to look at it is you could have, let's say it was you versus Sam Leeds, yeah? He's got his personal brand there. He's found a deal that's all right. You guys have found a deal that's a fucking banger, like 1,000% ROI, like just a ridiculous deal.
People are still buying his.
People are going to buy Sam's.
Yeah.
People have been part of his journey as well. Do you know, obviously, if they've followed him for, say, a few months, they've seen what he's been doing every day for the last 2 months, and you kind of feel like you get to know him kind of thing. So when you buy in, it's obviously a lot easier to do that.
Can I go for a wee?
Go on, bro. So what was his name that was
I was actually going to carry on the convo, to be honest with you. That's what I usually do when he goes to the toilet.
Okay. Go on, yeah,
I was going to ask, I wanted to ask it earlier, what's like, the thing with me, yeah, I say the thing with me, does property like really give you like the biggest purpose, or is it like your accountant's advising you to branch out into these other avenues? Do you feel like that's what will really like fire you guys up?
For me personally, I think even like growing up as a kid, I've always thought about getting into property. I don't know why, I've just always had that.
Especially like back when you guys were kids. No, I'm joking. when you're younger though, like, and from your parents, property is like a very much, it's an old school way of making money. Like, it's been around for so long, and it's like it's the safest way. It's like,
But also,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, if you look at like the top 10 richest people, they're all invested in property heavily. The majority anyway. So it's a winner.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's not the property really that's what I'm passionate about. Obviously, I love interiors and that sort of thing. Everyone loves architecture, beautiful buildings, beautiful houses. Of course they do. But for me, it's selling deals. It's trying to convince landlords. It's people. It's dealing with people that that I buzz off. I like to sell, and I like to be in a negotiation, even like when we're sat here today, like, and we can have a conversation with Chris can go, I don't really agree with that. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
That's like, I would happily sit there and have a back and forth like that all day long. But it's not really the property for me. Like, it wouldn't matter what it was. It's, the thing that drives me in our business is to grow it and to build it to be as big as it can possibly be. It doesn't matter what that business is. But then on the flip side of that, before I was in a business where I always say I didn't really enjoy what I did. I think in reality it's family business, and as you guys will both know, it's not easy to get control of a family business and to be able to sort of implement your own ideas and to push. And I think now I've gone and done my own thing, or like we've gone and done something together. If we went back to that family business now, I would be able to have more influence because I'd be more confident in saying this is what we need to do. This is how we need to take this.
I feel like it's probably the same with me. I never even thought of that. If I was to go back to working with my old man, probably able to make things a lot different.
Yeah, and I think you'd be heard more, and because you wouldn't give him a choice.
Respect. It's like, it's the respect of, he's not just my little boy anymore.
Yeah.
Do this, and you've got a bit of an understanding. It's like,
I think now that we've like come to a stage in our business journey where I feel like we are really starting to build, and like things are starting to stack up slowly, and we're growing the business. I've found more of a love for actually like making the moves and like growing the business rather than doing the work, if that makes sense.
When we first met, you were just purely creative side. That was your passion, wasn't it? It was every time we would. I remember you even saying to me like, "Oh, I'm a creative." Well, I'd say
I still
now,
would say that
I would say you are a creative, but I'd say now you're definitely.
I think
your growth in the other side of it is huge.
I think one thing that I don't give H enough props for, and I probably haven't actually said this out loud, but he is still a creative, but in a very different way. H is brilliant at creating a system, creating an ecosystem, creating a morale, a message, especially within like Like the other day, I was like, bro, why don't we get a group chat with everybody and like hype them up and make them feel like they're a part of something?
I actually spoke to them and I've sorted that, by the way.
That's still creating. You're just creating something that isn't a video, if that makes sense. Like we're running ads for a few clients now, yeah? H is brilliant at creating the stuff that needs to get created for the ad to be successful. I have no clue. Would we have maybe got the contract signed? Like if I wasn't involved, maybe not. But would we be able to fulfill what's actually being done without the creative side, creating that actual system? No. But that's why it works. So
I'd say from a younger age, I'd say like one thing that I was always good at was like managing people. Do you know what I mean? Like I even remember there was like went on a school trip like bare long ago. I was probably in like year 5, and it was like
a couple of years ago then.
Fucking hell, it was about 20 years ago for you now, isn't it? 25 actually. Fucking hell.
No, but it was like, I can't remember what the school trip was about. It was like orienteering was one of the things that we had to do, and everybody went into teams. You had a team name and like there's levels like winners and stuff. I remember like I won like an award from the people like being like the best like team leader basically, and like leading my team and having that morale good. And like even growing up, like I was captain of the rugby team at school for a season. Like I enjoyed those roles, and I think I am quite good with people in terms of managing them and getting a good, like the best out of them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. But I think, like you said, that you probably explained it better, and obviously you work with H day to day. There's definitely, I think, a massive change in you from when we first met in terms of even your whole sort of demeanour. I think when we first met, you came across sort of very like happy-go-lucky. Almost like you had so much energy. I remember saying to Torr straight away, like, you're gonna like, he's the type of person you meet and you couldn't not love him.
And thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Genuinely, but I think now you're still that person.
Now he's a dick.
Yeah, you're still that person.
No, I actually really appreciate that, man. Thank you.
You're still without a doubt that person. But I think at the same time, in a situation, you would be able to just go, yeah, but that's not on. Or yeah, but this, you still need to do it this way. And I think that's probably...
It happened this morning, bro. When I say to you, it happened this morning. A client was like, I thought of this idea, like I think it will work really well. Like we can post it on socials, use it as an ad as well as like this. I literally said to him like, this, no. I was like, this trend is from the start of lockdown. Like we're not going to do this. You guys can still post it on the socials if you want, but we're not going to use this. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
Because we want to get the best results at the end of the day.
Yeah, of course.
It's an aura thing, I think.
Yeah.
Because when we did first meet, not only were we at the start of our journey in the podcast, but our business was a baby. It still is a baby. Well, actually, it's like a toddler now. But it was a thing of, we were happy-go-lucky. We were just excited to be in Manchester for the day. Because
literally,
our Wednesday 6 months before was being stood behind a pan or a grill that's 200 degrees having to deal with fuckers that you don't really give a shit about.
Yeah,
mate, extra salt and vinegar, please. Oh, fuck off. Like, we were just happy for that to be a day of work.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Of course. But that's like a norm now. So you won't get that, excitable because we're here and we're here to get a job done. Like, that's it. I think it's just like a growth factor it shows growth in the side of like, this is a norm. This is what we do. So like, we're not massively excited about being in Manchester. Tomorrow we're shooting with a Premier League footballer in Manchester, but it's just another day in the office.
Yeah, it's the norm now.
I hate to talk about myself. It's not something that I like to do a lot. But what made you think that though?
Which part?
The change? I don't know. I've never really thought about it. I just handle my business day to day.
In terms of, it is kind of like an aura thing. I just think even the way you are, like when we come into the room today, we come into the room and you're in the middle of something, you're setting up. You're not like chuck this stuff down straight over, boys. You're like, finish doing what you're doing, walk over. It's just little things that I think there's more like conviction in you now. That's probably the way I'd say it. And I always remember you saying like you're a creative, and obviously I've seen the work you've done for us and stuff, and you're brilliant at what you do. I think now there's also that conviction where it's like, yeah, I'm brilliant at what I do, and I know how to tell you how good I am at it. I know how to make you buy what I'm doing. And obviously I'd say, fair to say you're probably more the sales guy in all of it. But I definitely think you've got more of that to you now?
I would definitely say in a sales pitch, Chris has got way more patience with someone. In my head, sometimes I'm just thinking like, fuck me, you're going to say yes or no?
Yeah,
like, I don't want to waste my time.
Understand? Yeah, yeah.
But you've got to rub
like me, to be honest.
You've got to rub it before you shove it in, though, haven't you?
Don't worry, I'm all right at that, man.
Depends how hardcore you are.
It's all straight in there.
No problem.
Wait, so what did you think of me then? Fucking this cock. Adrian's the one that you all liked.
I can't even remember you.
Yeah, we don't really like you, to be honest.
Fuck you. Double fuck you as well.
No, I think obviously that first encounter, I spent more time of speaking to you than H.
Yeah.
Because you just spoke more.
Yeah.
And that's the same with me and you. I'd say I
It's a
will
point of
speak
contact.
more. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, I think the thing that all baffled me about both of you was your age. And I remember saying to you both when you were talking about the business and it was the start.
Sorry, bro. I saw this thing on TikTok. It's a trend. You do like a test online. It gives you like your age test. And I was seeing people that were like 21 getting like 27. They were like, oh my God, like I'm so wise and old. I took it, bro.
50.
I got a mental age of 47.
I
was like, oh
I'm not
my
surprised.
God.
I'm not even surprised.
That's another thing that I personally think you've matured quite a lot. Not that you was immature before, but since the start to now, every aspect of your personality just matured quite a lot.
Thank you.
He's become my little grandpa, man.
Yeah.
He won't even come out for a beer with me anymore.
And to be fair, when you guys first met me, though, I wasn't really like out drinking and stuff.
These two are the same.
Like on
Except he
Sunday,
runs and I don't run.
on Sunday, win, lose, draw, I want to go out with the boys and have a drink.
Yeah.
But he'll be like, nah, man, got a long run in the morning. And it doesn't really phase him. Do you know what I'm saying? But like, I'm like, gonna get there. And it's like, right, who's first round then? Like,
But the way that I like to live my... Sorry, bro, I cut up what you were
it's
saying
okay,
before.
it's okay.
You sure?
No, yeah, carry on.
I'm going to hold the thought because I'm curious, baffled about the age. You said. Well,
The way that I live my life now, I remember I actually heard it on a podcast or it was a clip or something, but you should think about your future self, and it's like, what would your future self want? I could even give you an example. This morning, there's an error. No, there's like something broken in the Apple software at the moment, and some people's alarms aren't going off. Mine didn't actually go off this morning. I swear to God. I swear to God, I saw it the other day, and it didn't go off yesterday because I got up late, and it didn't go off this morning. I was like, oh my fucking gosh.
Yeah,
I was
that's
fuming.
why we were
Only
late.
by like half an hour. But like, I started my run, so like the day was already like, fuck's sake, I'm up late. I'm not going to be at the office at 9. I might be there at 9:30, 10. Fuck's sake. And then I went out for my run. I started it, and like I used this like app on my phone basically that does my workouts and guides me through them rather than me actually having to like plan them and stuff like that. But I started it on the wrong thing. I was like, fuck's sake. I was like, let me just do this later after I get my trim or something like that. And then I was like, nah.
you have to come back.
Fuck's sake.
Got the technique now.
Then I was just like, nah. I was like, let's just get this done now. I've actually forgot what I started saying. I got lost in it. How did I fucking start that thing?
Something about the alarm, and then
Oh my gosh.
You're
Basically thinking about your future self.
Oh shit, yeah. Fuck yeah, no. Sorry, I do that sometimes.
It's okay.
No, so like thinking of what your future self would actually want in that situation, like in my head, my thought process was my future self will not want to go to the gym and get on the treadmill to do an 8K at 7 p.m. when the gym's busy as well from everybody finishing work. That's what made me do it this morning. And it's like thinking about what's best for your future self, you're often going to get the best results.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's
No,
why
I
I
agree.
choose
Yeah.
like the majority of scenarios. Don't get me wrong, a birthday or something like that, I'll have a couple of drinks. On a Sunday every once in a while, my dad will have a beer. But like...
But if at full time, Spain win, obviously this will come out after, so we're just going to look like idiots, but if at full time, I'm 6 beers deep and Spain win, my future self's going to be more happy with the 6 beers than if I had not.
I'm with you.
No, but realistically, how many people wake up after a day again, after the day after getting absolutely slaughtered and like, oh, I'm so fucking glad.
I had a few last night, and I woke up this morning and thought, well, I wish I didn't. I had
There
a
you
great
go.
time, but I wish I didn't. I would have had a great time anyway, so we won. But
That's
yeah,
why I've
you're
stopped
right.
drinking, to be honest. Just the
Did you
feeling the
not
day
drink at
after.
all?
No, I've cut it out
I
99%.
respect it, bro, so I.
Don't get me wrong, on Sunday I'll have a drink just because it's the final, and obviously I love football, so it's what it is.
I think you
said
can
that a
make
few
decisions,
times
though.
recently. you've said, oh, we'll have one at this point, and then you get there and you don't want it.
That's what I'm like.
But I think I will for the final because it's the final. So
I think as well, like, we're speaking very heavily about drinking, and I'm gonna, like, if you drink certain alcohol or if you mix certain drinks, like if you have 6 lagers or you have 6 tequila shots, you're gonna feel a lot better on Monday morning. Than do you know what I'm saying?
Tequila's actually the best alcohol
Yeah.
you should drink.
Yeah.
It's got bacteria that's like actually decent for your gut.
Yeah.
So like you can still make decisions and choices that can avoid that. But obviously when you're going and it's like, yeah, I'll have a Stella and I'll have another Stella. And do you know what I mean? You feel bloated, you feel slow. When you come down, your head starts to hurt. You wake up and you go to sleep like that, but you're not actually asleep. Yeah, so there's a lot of knock-on effects, but you can still make decisions that change that.
Yeah, of course.
I'd say
I'll stop doing it because it's just the motivation side of things for me. I'll have a couple of beers and the day after, I'm like, can I be asked to do that? Can I be asked to do this? It's like, I don't want to be in that position anymore.
Yeah.
I want to be in a position where I'm happy to do what I need to get done.
Yeah.
I'd say you can probably relate to the thought process behind it, but it's thinking about what my future self would want, and that is the mission and the goal and the end product, really, whether that's being in the best physical shape possible or getting the best out of me and my business. So I have to make those decisions in the present to not detriment the future.
Yeah.
I completely understand there's going to be some people listening that are like, yeah, Torr H, I'm with you on this one. But just to flip it, I also think going and having a beer on a Saturday or a Sunday or whatever you want to do, that's going to give you that short-term fulfillment, even if you feel a little bit groggy on the morning. In the long term, is that couple of hours where you feel a bit foggy upstairs really going to have that much of an impact?
No, it won't.
But if I created a memory the night before that's going to last with me forever, was it worth it?
I hear that, but that's why it's in like moderation.
It's about
though,
having
why
a
it's not
balance.
Very often.
And I think also now there's less. I go back even maybe 2 years ago. If you'd have said, I'm coming to the pub, I'm not having a beer, your mates would have been like, fucking hell, what's wrong with you? Like, you'd have got hammered. I think now, there's so many people going to the pub and not drinking.
Yeah, it's more
It's
accepted.
becoming more, which is a good
Yeah.
thing.
I'd say,
It's
like,
more normal to go to the pub.
Obviously, back in your day,
Yeah, back in
different.
my day, you weren't allowed in.
I think you need to shut them up, man.
Anyway, that brings us back nicely to the age thing.
Oh God! Whoa! You should start a podcast.
We might.
That was a smooth
That
transition.
would be a great way to start your personal brands, though. Because if you guys just did a half an hour, sorry, I've cut you up.
No, it's okay. We'll just talk about
No. I want bro. I want you to go.
Let's talk
man.
about you because you know you like doing that.
Yeah, so when I first met you boys, the thing I could not believe was your age. I think I didn't know until sort of probably towards the end of that day. And how far where you guys were already in terms of knowing what you wanted. And I don't mean specifically knowing exactly what you want to do, because I don't think it really fucking matters. I think I'm, like I've said already, 31 now. Still don't know what I'm going to want to do in 10 years' time.
You need to sort it out.
No more age jokes. Okay,
In 10 years' time, if I want to do something completely different and start again, I'm still only 41. Even at 51, there's people starting new businesses, mega successful businesses into the 50s.
I listened to a podcast
60s.
quickly yesterday. Warren Buffett made 99% of his wealth after he was 50.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So the average millionaire is like 57.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think we are a generation. We're
Us
the
three
younger
are... No,
generation.
actually, sorry. I said I was done.
The
I'm
younger
done.
generation want everything. We do want everything quickly. It's all sort of, and again, this sort of ties into the decision you're making for your future self. It's like instant gratification. And I think a lot of the time, like we probably did it with our first apartment. We were like, yeah, we want that one because, I mean, look at it. Imagine being able to say that's yours, posting this, posting that. Luckily, I mean, it worked out really well for us.
Luckily it's worked out.
That was probably a decision made for the fact that we just wanted it. It wasn't perhaps thinking a few months down the line we probably could have took 2 or 3 on that maybe would have been profiting more. But obviously we learn from that and move on. But you guys had such a clear long-term vision of where you want to be. Obviously the little intricacies within your business will have changed.
Yeah, for sure.
Like they're probably changing every day in terms of fresh ideas and new directions to go down. But you guys, I think, how old were you when we met?
Well, it was a year and a bit. I was 21 and H was 22. Yeah.
And I think I thought back to me at that age, and I had my own business, but like I say, family business wasn't really my own. I didn't really have a clue what I wanted to do with it. I didn't have a clue what I wanted for myself. I just look forward to the weekend. like I had a game on the weekend, or like I was going out and doing this with the boys, I was absolutely nowhere near where you guys were in terms of mentally and having a clear vision of what I wanted to be. Never mind implementing things like in terms of the gym daily, do it like you with your running, you with your, like with your content, and actually being able to produce something positive day in, day out. I probably went months without producing anything positive. And I can look back and say that honestly, because I mean, it's brought me to where I am, so it's all part of the journey. But I think that was the one thing with you guys where I thought, even if it's not in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, which it will be,
they're going to make it.
You're going to make it. You're going to be successful, because who's doing that at 21, 22?
I fucking hope so,
Many
bro.
people.
No, the drive you
Thank you.
have at your age is far higher than anything I've seen of that age group.
Without a doubt.
Even for you guys though, at your age group, I'd say the drive is going to be in the top 0.1%, because the majority of people are comfortable with where they are. So don't ever get that twisted, guys.
No, I think, to be honest, it's
Are they in the same age group? Last one. Now that was the last one.
I'm telling you, bro, you need to go around it.
It's how these tables are quite far apart. Yeah, I think for us, even at sort of being like a decade further on, it's I don't never panic really about time. I don't really ever panic, and I don't know if that comes from the things that I've probably been through personally, and which everybody has, and the way I sort of reflect on them in terms of I try and sort of see the positive in everything. At the end of the day, like if you can't change it, you've got to take a lesson. And I think at 30 when we started the business, I think starting the new business, then to make the decision to go full time, shut another business. Even if 10 years down the line we shut this and go again, I'm ready to go again.
The way that I can like relate marathon prep, or even like the gym, like you're currently at the moment, like you're bearing your gym bag, bro. Like the way that you relate that to business, and exactly what you just said, is the process that you go through until you actually see results is what you have to enjoy to actually get to the results. And if you don't enjoy getting up every day and like getting after it, or whatever it is, building that business, etc., you probably won't get to that end goal, and that wouldn't allow you in 10 years' time to want to start business again, whether it was in the same field or a different one. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying?
I agree, yeah, completely. And I think at the end of the day, you spend more time sort of on your way to where you're hoping to get to. And let's be honest, when you get there, chances are then you want to be somewhere else. So
100%.
But on the sort of flip side of that, I think there are some people out there, and we were actually talking about it earlier on the way here, and it was actually about Simon Jordan on TalkSport, and he was saying, obviously very successful businessman, and he was saying, they were talking about the Euros and saying, just enjoy it, enjoy where we're at, enjoy where we're going to. And he was like, no, I'll enjoy it when we win. He said, because I'm a results man, I'm an outcome, like it's all about the outcome for me, and that's the way it is. So I do think on the flip side, there are some people out there that can essentially, they're not content day in, day out, they're not really enjoying it, but they get something closed, and then, do you see what I mean? They're almost setting smaller goals along the way. So it's managing, I think, your own personality in a way to motivate yourself to keep going.
Before, when like business was quite new to me, and like everything I was doing, I was just like super excited to get going, and that's probably the Chris and H that you met a long time ago. But now it's like, after that motivation wears off, and then the discipline has to kick in. To find the motivation from somewhere, it has to be those small wins. Like yesterday, I literally had a call with the Meta support guys to help me out with some ad strategies. I was buzzing with that and the progress that I made on the call and the understanding that I got. And like that for me was a small win. I was just super excited to come and smash it today with all of that type of stuff. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can peel it back even to the most basic things. A small win is literally waking up. Like if you I was on the way to London yesterday, and our route into London, you go past the Grenfell Tower and the blocks around it, obviously. And me and my friend Stav at the time, who was with me, were like, imagine like being born into that kind of environment and basically being set up for failure. And I said to him, I goes, well, yeah, but imagine being brought up in the environment we did and not doing anything with it. Like, imagine, we were so lucky to the point of the country we were brought up in, first of all, our families' financial situations, even down to the simplicity of being men and not having to go through like pregnancy. Like, we've been given so much, but we still look at the stuff that we don't have.
You never appreciate what you've got.
As opposed to, appreciating the small things. And one thing that I've done personally is appreciate a lot more those small things, show gratitude for the small things. Me and H got our office. It's a box. It's tiny, but it's a small win.
It's an achievement.
And we was excited. Do you know what I mean? Even like when we got our first editor on board that wasn't really on board and we were paying slightly too much, we're like, bro, we've got team members now, bro. Like, we got staff, bro. Like, we were, but you've got to be excited about these small things and show gratitude, because if you don't, you'll never be happy.
No.
And if you're not happy, you'll never win, because if you're down in the dumps and feeling sorry for yourself, and what version of yourself that looks like that is ever going to achieve something great?
Exactly.
Ever. You're
not. And I think you've got to be very careful. I think when you walk into a room, if that's for business or even, to be honest, any room where you're representing yourself, which is all the time, you walk in with your head down. And there's probably been times over the last couple of days where me and him have had some stuff going on and we're like, you're a bit, but you've got to pick yourself up. You've got to get yourself back out of it, because like you say, you can peel it all the way back. And again, going back to the age thing, with every year, like, you have that thing.
You're teasing me now, bro.
You have
Stop
that
it.
sort of, there's that temptation where you think, and everyone wishes the time away when you're younger, and you think, I want to be 18, I want to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Then you get to a point where you're thinking, shit, another year. But that's a blessing, no? Like, it's another year that you've lived and you've learned, and no doubt you've made great memories.
Yeah.
No matter what your circumstance. And if you can't take something out of that into the next year, like, how do you keep going?
Yeah. You said about walking into a room with your head held high and representing yourself. And it's quite funny. We're going to talk about a represent event now. But we walked into a room at the similar time, the Chris and H that you met. We went into a invite-only exclusive event at End in Manchester that Represent were holding. George and Mike were there and they spoke, and there was a lot of influencers there and all of this kind of stuff. And
Probably paid for the whole thing with the amount you spent at Represent.
yeah. We, and to this day, still have slight communications with the CFO of Represent. And he took 25 minutes, 30 minutes of that event to talk to me and H, who at the time had 0 retainer clients, had like, together our money was like 10,000 maybe.
We were still in the family businesses.
Like, there was nothing like that we could offer other than energy, drive, head held high, confidence, aura, which made the CFO of one of the biggest clothing brands in the world right now want to come and stand and talk and conversate, and was like, oh, what you guys have got going on is actually like quite impressive, and guys are gonna, like you said, they'll make it.
Yeah.
But it's because of that aura, that being like, we're here, being excited and be like, yo, bro, how are you? We finished that, George and Mike finished their talk. We were sat right at the front like this. And then when we finished, instead of being stush like everyone else in the room, we went straight to George and Mike and said, boys, listen, you guys have motivated us so fucking much. We started getting up at 6 a.m. because of you guys, because of the behind the brands that you were posting.
Chris went to spud George.
You didn't see it, you dickhead.
I'll show you the YouTube video.
Anyway.
He didn't spud Chris.
You didn't see it.
He went like that, and then he went to Chris turned.
You didn't see it. Anyway, one day I'll get the spud back, don't worry. But like, just that excitement and that like gratitude of being in this environment and being stood in front of 2 of the most influential guys in the clothing industry and even in the entrepreneurial space in the UK. And I'm not going to go and say, yo, bro, well, go on. Because I'm going to be stush like everyone else and play it cool.
Yeah, drop your pride for a minute and just do what you got to do.
Bro, get aired from your spud and keep it stepping. And he was like, boys, keep up what you're doing. Like, billionaires.
Yeah.
Maybe not now, but will be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think as well, it's a strange thing that people would be in that environment and not want to try and get a conversation, even if it's 3 words that you can take with you that might change something. Why are you there if you're not interested in what they're actually saying and what they could potentially offer, and also what you could potentially bring to them? Which obviously for you guys, that's the dream, right? Clients like that.
Yeah. Well, it'd be hard when the whole media team was there filming the whole thing and being like, "Oh, can we take these guys' jobs?
Can we just sort of get rid of these?"
The guys that have been on board for like 8 years." But
I think it's when you get yourself in that room. I mean, it's a skill in itself of getting yourself in the room.
oh,
Some fucking waffle. That's what
Yeah.
it was.
And then to get yourself in the room and then just sit there like.
do you know why? Do you know how we got in though? Again, our aura and our confidence and our kind of likability, let's say, to the point where we were cool with the security guard. We walked in. "How are you, bro? You okay, Spud?" How many people walk into End and just walk past the security guard like it's a mannequin? We didn't.
It's called the security guard. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mad. To be fair, it's the last thing I want to really go like into, because it's like I also feel like so many people go through. You don't want to talk about like you think that makes you different. Do you know what I mean? It's just fucking. It's day to day. People going through it.
Hey,
It just is what it is.
but I'm happy that you said it.
Yeah.
Not only like that you feel comfortable to say it, but I also think that it's really good that you've put that out. Because to somebody on outside that looks in on Luke Howard doesn't think
No.
that ever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it shows strength. And I think you'd be surprised that with the 100, 200, maybe even 500 if we're lucky, people that tune in to this episode, how even if one person like feels better about themselves because you said
that's
it.
Or they can relate
That's
it
so
somehow.
special, bro. So powerful.
You're about to come in with something when the camera went, weren't you?
Yeah, it's the mannequin.
Yeah, go back to that.
Yeah. How many people on a day-to-day basis walk in and out of End and walk past the security guard like he's a mannequin? We didn't. "Hey, bro, how are you?" "Yeah, man, good, thank you, bro. Yeah, on the way out. See you later, bro. We're not really supposed to be here tonight, but like, if anything happens, can we take your number?" And walking past, we were going to go straight, but we walked past and said, "Any look, bro?" And he goes, "Go on." Why? Because it's that. Feeling comfortable first enough to be like, "Well, go on, bro." Being a good person, saying, "How are you?" Showing somebody that, like, I don't give a shit that you're a security guard. I'm still going to spud you, bro. Like, goes a long way. And it comes with that aura of having your head held high, being, like, likable, being approachable, and then also as well feeling comfortable enough to go to somebody that you don't know and say, "How are you, man? You okay?"
I think that's one thing that people should get more comfortable with doing. Like, there's always the thing, it's like when you go and get your coffee, like ask the person serving you how their day was and stuff like that. But that's how you actually build the confidence to even like do those things and start random conversations with random people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. And I think there's been times in the past where we've probably been in rooms like you guys at the Represent event where we've probably not had the confidence to go and check. For example, we were at a birthday party and Crept and Conan were there, and they're especially Crept is quite big in with the property investment game and that sort of thing. And we weren't really supposed to go and have a conversation, so we didn't. In reality, it's like that's an opportunity to potentially go in and
Make a connection to an
Investor.
investor with a bigger dough.
Go and take a chance.
Yeah.
Like,
Big
what's the
dough, big
worst that can happen?
profile.
worst case scenario is he doesn't speak to you, or someone says, "No, can like leave him alone."
It's
Right.
like what
was,
a lot of people say. Sorry, bro. A lot of people say it like with girls. Like you're in the club, go and say hello to the girl. If you stay on the table with your boys trying to act stush and she doesn't come over, you're not gonna get the number or the deets or whatever you're trying to get. But if you go over and she says no, it's the same outcome.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's still the 50-50 chance, or even if you're quite good with your words, more of a chance that you get what you're actually trying to get.
Yeah.
Like,
And on top of all of that, and probably the more important thing is that you're actually going to build your confidence from doing that, even if you receive the no. Probably more so if you get the no, because it's like, oh, that wasn't that bad. It's like what I was going to get onto is, in 3 generations, everybody would have forgotten who you are. So like, what's really that important now?
No, yeah,
Yeah, I hear that.
spot on. And I think when you were saying about then builds up your confidence with, you realise people saying no to you is not the end of the world.
That's our
It's-
job on a daily
In
basis.
business, you need to get fucking good at taking those.
I mean, you guys have done it before when you did your training, and you were doing calls and stuff. And I remember both of you saying like, "Fuck, fucking hell, like no one is interested in like a company letter and things like that. And I'm like, no, they are. It's just no one you've spoke to yet is interested. And it could be the next 500 people tell you to fuck off. But you just gotta keep ringing.
All it takes is one, and then you're set.
Yeah, you guys, my heart was broken. I pulled you guys out to 2 different viewings because I thought, oh, this is it. Got it. Yeah. And then it was another no. After we already did all of that stuff. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the deal's almost secured. And then someone just goes, actually, I've changed my mind.
But instead of beating myself up, I looked at the cards that I was dealt. And now I have my own service to come.
Yeah.
It's a perspective thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And we've learned sort of in the future, if we go to that estate agent, for example, we would say, look, obviously the last couple of times, it's been, it's all okay. And then we've got there and then it's not okay. So just let us know in advance. Yeah. Are we all good to go? And it's just being okay with getting things wrong is massive, I think. Yeah. And being okay with not having all the answers, and then also being willing to go and get the answers for next time. I think they're 2 things that really we've had to learn and that we take with us.
Well, I think as a man in the game of business, you have to be the pawn on the chessboard before you can be the king.
Yeah.
So a pawn can only move in certain directions. It's small and it's long and it's meticulous. But before, it's the same in business, it's the same in life. Before you can be the king and jump around the board and do what you want to do, the board being the world or life or business, you have to experience being the pawn that does those small steps, has those small wins, isn't really getting anywhere, but is still getting somewhere. It's the same shit. Yeah. And part and parcel of being the pawn is being thrown around, isn't having the answers, is getting no's. But to be a king, you have to experience being a pawn.
Without a doubt.
To be a good king anyway. Do you know what I mean?
And I think that's even more difficult now when in a time where I would say, I mean, it's said a lot now that this generation is sort of the least sort of in tune and sort of sat looking at their phones, like dopamine addicted, like dull. Yeah. But to be honest, I think the complete opposite of that. We're probably the most in tune of any generation that's gone before. Like when would we have sat here and sort of had the conversation that we'd have had, and you open up about the times that were difficult, the vulnerability. You were never allowed to do that. Yeah. So being able to be vulnerable and take no's and still be vulnerable and be able to share that and then be able to bounce back and then, like you say, go from the pawn to the king. I think that says a lot about a lot of people like yourselves that are sort of coming through in business and just in this generation where there's so much expected of you in the sort of public eye and in like a socials background and that sort of thing, that you can actually still be vulnerable and still be a man. I think that's huge, and that's part and parcel of being able to take no's and go, yeah, but in the next time will be a yes. I think it's key.
I think it's a good place to end the episode, man.
Boys, we could talk all fucking day, to be honest. But we've got shit to do.
There's going to be another 10 episodes that we do you guys anyways.
I've thoroughly enjoyed it, to be honest. Yeah, I actually think it's one of my favourite episodes that we've done, just in regards to like just sitting with Amanda and chopping it up. I hope you guys at home or in the car or wherever the fuck you are have enjoyed it. Thanks for coming down, boys, taking the time.
Thank you for having us, boys.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
You guys.
You've said some nice stuff to us. We said some nice stuff back. And I'm waffling now, so I'm going to close it out. To everybody that's listened, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Turn the bell notification on so you get notified every time we release a podcast. And we'll see you all next week.
Love, guys. We'll catch you later.
Peace! Vamos!
Cheers, boys.